It was a good evening at Villa Park as the mighty Chelsea smashed 4 past Aston Villa. From João Pedro historic first Premier League hat-trick to Liam Rosenior tactical masterclass and the importance of regimes, we are breaking it all down as well as 5 things we learned from this demolition. But before we dive into this video, if you are new here, welcome to the channel. But if you have been following me for a while, you know the drills. Help your boy get to that 10k subscriber mark. Let's dive into it. What a result! Going to Villa Park and walking away with a dominant 4-1 win is exactly the kind of statement we needed. Let's be real, after the sting of that Arsenal defeat, we all were looking for a sign that this project is heading in the right direction. What we saw was a proper tactical reset under Liam Rosenior. But here is the best part. It wasn't just about our 3 points. Let's look at the table. Manchester United, Villa and Liverpool all dropped points this week. The door to top 4 hasn't just been nudged open. It's been kicked off its hinges. We are now just 3 points behind Villa with a massive wind in sail. We have so much to break down from this masterclass, so sit tight, let's get into it. Starting from the first thing we learned, is João Pedro the signing of the summer? Now we have to talk about the man of the hour, and I'm asking this question right now. Is João Pedro the signing of the summer? Let's be honest with ourselves, when we dropped £60 million to bring him from Brighton, a lot of people, including myself, questioned if he was the clinical edge we have been missing for years. But after that Villa performance, it's getting harder and harder to argue against him. And I believe we are watching the birth of a Chelsea legend. Just look at the numbers he put up in this game. He finished with a 9.7 match rating. 3 goals, 1 assist, 5 shots, 4 on targets. That is pure efficiency. Trailing 1-0 early to that Douglas Luiz goal could have broken this young squad. We have seen us crumble in those moments before. Instead, João Pedro took over. His movement for the equalizer, fed perfectly by Malo Gusto, was elite. And the second goal, that's a resulting onside finish that showed the kind of striker instinct we haven't seen in Stamford Bridge in a long time. Now he entered the history books too. Squawker pointed out a massive milestone. João Pedro is now the 8th Brazilian to score a Premier League hat-trick, joining the likes of Robinho, Firmino and Gabriel Jesus. He now has 9 goal involvement against Villa in the Premier League, 5 goals and 4 assists. He's most against any opponent in the competition. But it's not just about history, it's about here and now. He's currently the 4th highest goal scorer in the Premier League. He's doing that without a fully fit Cole Palmer. And even more impressively, he's level with Semenyo for the most non-penalty goal in the entire league. And I found this stat from who scored particularly insane. Goals and assists in the Premier League so far this season: João Pedro 17, Hugo Ekitike 15, Victor Gyökeres 10, Benjamin Sesko 9. He's outperforming the biggest name in Europe right now. And for those of us who remember the struggle of last season, check this out. João Pedro needs 1 more goal to equal Nicolas Jackson's total goal, 14 in his first season in the Premier League. Since Liam Rosenior took over in January, João Pedro has been a different beast entirely, netting 8 goals in just 8 matches. He's not just a poacher, he's dropping deep, linking play, and as we saw with his 3rd goal, his finishing moves that he often helps start himself. With this historic hat-trick, I think we can officially end the number 9 curse. The curse is dead. João Pedro have killed it. But moving on to the second thing we learned from this demolition, and I have to say, this was a pure Liam Rosenior masterclass. Coming off a 3-match winless streak in the Premier League, there are some whispers starting to circulate. But Liam Rosenior showed exactly why the board handed him that long-term contract. He didn't just tweak the system, he overhauled it. We saw a massive 4 changes to the starting 11, including that shock swapping goal. A lineup of Jorgensen, Gusto, Fofana, Chalobah, Hato, James, Caicedo, Palmer, Enzo, Garnacho and João Pedro leading the line. Securing a 4-1 win at Villa Park after that run we had is a massive 3 points. But the stats tells the story better than my words could ever. We finished with 57% possession, created 5 big chances. But check this out, the XG battle was a complete mismatch. Aston Villa 0.92 to Chelsea 4.41. Think about that, a 4.41 XG, and we actually scored 4 goals. For the first time in what feels like an eternity, Chelsea finishing actually matched our creation. The tactical highlight for me, deploying Malo Gusto high out the pitch. It was a stroke of genius. It pinned Villa fullback deep and directly led to that crucial assist for the equalizer. And Malo Gusto was an absolute engine out there, finishing with a 7.2 rating and some serious impressive underlining numbers: 1 assist, 2 defensive contribution, 1 tackle, 4 recoveries, 3 ground duel won, and 0 time dribbled past. He also created 1 big chances and 1 key pass. Beating a direct Champions League rival like Aston Villa, especially away from home, is the ultimate 6-pointer. Liam Rosenior successfully neutralized Unai Emery's famous high line by using the raw pace of João Pedro and Alejandro Garnacho to exploit every inch behind them. And I have to give credit for his personal bravery. Dropping Robert Sanchez or Philip Jorgensen was a drop your heart kind of call after that Arsenal loss. But Jorgensen's shot stopping, especially that massive save against Oli Watkins, justified the gamble completely. But moving on to the third thing we learned, and that is we need more from Cole Palmer. Look, I know what you are thinking. How can we sit here and say we need more from a player who just finished a match with an 8.7 rating? It sounds harsh, but that speaks to the impossible bar Cole Palmer has set himself at this club. He finished with an 8.7 rating, 1 goal, 2 shots, 2 on target, 48 touches. And make no mistake, his goal was a clinical finish after that brilliant Reece James cross. In fact, Squawker confirmed, Cole Palmer now has 5 goals in his last Premier League games. But if you are being honest, since returning from that recent knock, he hasn't quite dictated the tempo like he did earlier in the season. There are periods at Villa Park where he drifted out of the match. At his best, Cole Palmer is our architect, with massive fixtures against PSG and Manchester United looming. We need him more on the ball, carving out chances rather than finishing them. If he hits 100% fitness and form, this Chelsea team becomes absolutely impossible to stop. But on the other hand, a player who absolutely raised this level and carried the creative mountain was Alejandro Garnacho. And honestly, I thought he was sensational. He had Matika's number all night and he literally owned that left wing. He finished with a 7.7 rating, 1 assist, 3 shots, 2 big chances, 6 key passes, 2 accurate crosses. And according to Squawker, Alejandro Garnacho created 6 chances against Aston Villa, his most ever in a Premier League game. He also had more touches in the opposition box, 12. He won more duels, 7. He made more tackles, 4, and won more fouls, 3 than any of his teammates at Villa Park. This was a complete performance. While Cole Palmer provided the finish, Garnacho provided the fire. If these two can both hit peak form at the same time, good luck to the rest of the league. But moving on to the fourth thing we learned, respect all-weather Reece James. If there was any doubt about who is the best player in this world, Reece James silenced this today. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. When this man is fit, his levels ahead. He finished with a solid 7.1 rating, 1 accurate crosses, 92% accurate passes, 1 shot, 4 defensive contribution, 3 interception, 3 recoveries, 3 ground duel won, and 1 area duel won. But here is the stats that should be framed at Koba: 0 time dribbled past. Think about the qualities Aston Villa has in those wide areas, and none of them could get a sniff past Reece James. What impressed me the most was his tactical flexibility. Starting in the midfield to provide extra layer of stability, then transitioning back to right back shows a footballing IQ that is simply elite. And that cross for Cole Palmer's goal, that was vintage Reece James. Vicious, precise, and physically impossible to defend. It's the kind of delivery that makes a striker job easy. On a pitch full of world-class talents, James' physicality, composure stood out above everyone else. He didn't just play the game, he commanded it. He's the heartbeat of this project. Seeing him complete games like this gives me so much confidence for the runnings. And finally, the fifth, and perhaps the most important thing we learn: we need consistency. The table doesn't lie, we are fifth, sitting 3 points behind Aston Villa. And let's be real with ourselves, the jerky and healed nature of our season has to end right at Villa Park. I love a 4-1 thrashing as much as the next one, but one-off masterclasses are just for highlight reels. Top 4 or even top 5 qualification is actually won in those boring 1-0 win and gritty draw where we have to suffer. The gauntlet is officially laid, with PSG waiting for us in Champions League and massive domestic test against Newcastle, Manchester United, Man City on the horizon. There is absolutely zero room for a hangover from this week. We have shown we can outplay the best tactical setup in the league. Now I want us to do it week in, week out. If we can maintain this level of intensity and clinical finishing, that Champions League anthem is going to be ringing around Stamford Bridge again come next season. Now this win has completely changed the energy around the club, and I'm incredibly excited. With United, Villa, Liverpool dropping points, our top 4 hope are well and truly alive. That's the ultimate cherry on top of a perfect midweek. But what do you think? Was João Pedro the best signing of the summer? And do you think we finally have the consistency to leapfrog Villa into 4th place? Drop your thoughts in the comment section. And with that said, that's the end of the video, my friends. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Go be.